In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a set method for a hash table. Okay, so this method, we're going to call it set, is going to take two arguments, the key and the value. So looking at our pseudocode, the first step is to hash the key using our hash function. Okay, so we have the argument key here. So we are going to use this method right here to hash it. You want to do hashed. I'm going to, in a variable called hashed key, I'm going to do this dot hash and then pass in the key argument right here. All right, so we're using our method that we created here and passing in the key argument, which in return will return a hashed key, which will be the index or the location within this table array where our new data will exist. All right, next is we're going to have an if statement. And this, we're going to ask if the index of the hash key doesn't exist in the table, then we're going to set an empty array in that position. So if index of hash key doesn't exist in table. All right, so currently as it stands, this table right here, as you can see, it's an array and it has a slot currently of 5 here. All right, by default 5. So that's like as if here, let me see, over here. So currently as it stands, it's like as if this array here, it has 5 slots. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is our table right here. And now what we want to do is, the question was if this dot table hashed key, or if not this table hash key, meaning this is, so if this thing right here is going to be between the value of 0 and 4, right? Because as I mentioned that when we created this hash method here, that it's automatically going to generate one length. It's going to be the value between 1 less than the array length of the array. So it's going to be either between 1 and 4. So say, for example, this hash method ends up returning and storing in the index of 2. So it ends up being 2. So the location where we want to check is 0, 1, 2. It would be here. So this question is asking if not this table hash key. So if there's nothing that exists there, which as you can see, nothing exists, it's empty, then what we're going to do is set empty array in that position. So this table hashed key and insert an empty array. So as I mentioned, so here's 0, 1, 2. So this is index 2. So it's like we just insert an empty array here. There's no data inside it. It's just an empty array. All right, next step is to push into the empty array another array with the key and value arguments. Okay, so what we're saying here is we're going to push into this array here now another array like so, with the key, this key here that we pass in the argument and the value. So it's like this, or I'm just going to say K1 and K1 and val1 like this. All right. So that's what this is saying here, to push into the empty array another array with the key and value arguments. All right. And the way we write that out is this table hashed key and then push into it another array with the key and value, just like so. So this line right here is pushing in another array within this outer container array here, just like so. All right, now the else block. Otherwise, if there is something that exists there, then that means that, well, if it reaches this else block, that means a collision has occurred. So in that case, we're resolving it by inserting another array into that. So else push into existing array another array with the key and value arguments. So the way we would do that is else this table hashed key, and then push an array with the key and value. So this means that, so if it reached, so say the second time we create, let's just say, for example, if I was to do set and did, let's say grapes, and I wanted to have a quantity of 4 of those, four grapes. And then let's say I did another set and I did bananas, and I want to have 6 of those. Okay, and let's just say that this first set method, the hashed key generated an index of 2. Like I said, when we started off, that's this thing right here. And then if we did another set method, but push with the bananas, and that's when the collision occurs, well, it would run this else block. And then in that case, a collision occurs. And with this statement, all we do is go to this index. So it would be at index 2, which is here. And we see that there's already an array with the key value. So all we do is make comma and push in another array within it. So I'll be like K2 and val V2. All right, just like that. So now you see it's an array within another, an array within an array. I know it looks confusing, but this is essentially how we're resolving these collisions here. So this whole area right here is index number 2, this area right here. So from the get-go in this if statement, we generated an array, which is this outer array here, and then immediately we pushed in an array with a key value, which was this right here. And then once we executed this next set here for the bananas, well, we saw that and then the hash key was the same, say index number 2. Well, that would be the position which had this date already. So that's a collision, because we're gonna. So what we did here was we just pushed into this array another array with a key value. All right, that's how we did that. And so from there, that's pretty much it. And then we return this, or return the table, just like that. So that is how we solve that. All right, so if I did this here, let's just start with the grapes. All right, let's say this is a grocery, a shopping cart here, and I have 3 bags of grapes, or 4 bags of grapes that I put into the cart. So if I run this code here, let's see, let me do something here. Let me refresh this, go back. Or I'm going to run this code. All right, what did I do here? Set grapes. Oh, I forgot to add the HT. Maybe you guys caught that before me. All right, obviously here we instantiate it, and then we got to do HT for hash table, and then dot set, then call the method. All right, so if I save that, run. Oh, okay, let me refresh this again. Go back. All right, let's do this again. All right, run that code. All right, so here's our hash table. As you can see here, that hash table, this table, it starts with a length of 5 right here, and it tells us right here 5. So let's see. All right, so based off this, is saying, yeah, index 2 for this here, it was placed in index number 2, which if we expand that index 2, we see it's an array, and it's placed over here as another array, grapes and 4. So let me see what happens if I was to do another, let's do ht set and then do the bananas. I'm not sure if this will give us a collision, but we do have very few slots, so it's, you know, it's very likely to happen. So let's say for the bananas, we want to put in 6 bananas into our cart. All right, I'm gonna run this. Okay. I should have done that down here. All right, restart that, run, and let's see what we get. All right, so now, all right, so it looks like the grapes, again, they were placed in index 2 now, and for the bananas, it was actually placed in another one. It was placed in index number 4, right over here, as you can see. Okay, and well, let's see here. What if I'm gonna make this length shorter so we can for sure run into a collision here. Let me try this again, refresh, run this code. All right, let's see what we get now. All right, so this time the grapes were placed in index of 0 and the bananas in index 1. Now let me try to add another one here. Let's do kiwis. Kiwis, and we want to get a total of 3 in our shopping cart. So what would happen then? Refresh that. Run our code. Do we get a collision? No, we still didn't get a collision. All right. Well, let me try one more time. For sure, it's definitely going to be a collision because currently all the slots available, which is 3, are taken. So this last one will create a collision. So let's add pineapples. All right, let's get 2 of these into our cart. I'm gonna refresh this here, go back, run our code. Now let's look at our hash table. All right, so now there's a collision at index number 2. You see over here, it's showing that we get an array within another array. All right, so here you see we got our kiwis and the pineapples. All right, so this is our collision. So this right here was the result of running this else block right here, because it saw that the hash key that was generated for, say, the last one we put in for pineapples gave an index of this 2 right here. So in that case, it saw that index, that position in the array, the array was already taken, so it ran this else block and just pushed in another array within it, which happened over here. All right, now I know this is really confusing. This could be confusing, especially when you look at it, but I hope I was able to help you guys out with trying to understand this. So this was one way that you can resolve collisions. There are many ways you can do that. You can also use linked lists, but in this lecture, I decided to use an array, use arrays to resolve that. All right, so there is our set method for our hash table, and I'll see you in another lecture.